Dann geht mal jetzt, okay? Athaivam Akhila Loka Palo Lalamon Hivilakshanayr Chadava Aruta Vesha Vasha Karitayr Avilakshita Bhagavat Prabhu Yoginam Samparaya Vidin Anushitsayan Svakalavaram Shiasu Atmani Atmanam Asamvyavahitam Anarthantara Bhavena Vikshamana Uparatanu Vrittir Upanatanu Vrittir Uparatanu Vrittir Upararama Atvaimakila Lokapala Lalopi Vilakshanair Jagavat Avatuta Veshabasha Charitaira Vilakshata Bhagavat Parvavo Yoginam Samparaya Vidhim Anushikshanyan Svaskalevaram Chihashuratmani Atmanam Asman Vyavaititam Anarthanara Bhavena Vikshamana Uparatanuvritir Uparamrama. Word for word translation. Atha, thereafter. Evam, in this way. Akhila Lokapala Lalamaha. Akhila Lokapala Lalamaha. Akhila Loka Pala Lalamaha. Akhila Loka Pala Lalamaha. Akhila Loka Pala Lalamaha. The head of all kings and monarchs of the universe. Api, although. Vilakshanai, various. Jadavat, as if stupid. Jadavat, as if stupid. Avadutta Vesha Basha Karitaihi. Avadutta Vesha Basha Karitaihi. By the dress, language, and characteristics of an Avadutta. By the dress, language, and characteristics of an Avadutta. Avilakshita Bhagavat Pravavaha, hiding the opulence of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In parenthesis, keeping himself like an ordinary human being. Yoginam, of the yogis. Sampraya, Samparaya with him. I was wrong. Samparaya with him. The method of giving up his material body. Anushikshayan. Teaching. Svakalevaram. His own personal body, which is not at all material, Chihashuhu, desiring to give up like an ordinary human being. Atmani, unto Vasudevaya, the original person. Atmanam, himself, Lord Rishabhadev being an Avesha avatara of Lord Vishnu. Avesha avatara of Lord Vishnu. Asam vyavahitam, without intervention by the illusory energy. Anartha, Antara, Bhavena. Himself in the status of Vishnu. Anviksha Manaha. Always seeing. Uparata Anuvrittihi. Who was acting as if giving up his material body. Upararama, ceased his pastimes as the king of this planet. Translation. Lord Rishabhadeva was the head of all kings and emperors within this universe. But assuming the dress and language of an Avaduta, he acted as if dull and materially bound. Consequently, no one could observe his divine opulence. He adopted his behavior just to teach yogis how to give up the body. Nonetheless, he maintained his original position as a plenary expansion of Lord Vasudeva, Krishna. Remaining always in that state, he gave up his pastimes as Lord Rishabhadeva within the material world. If, following in the footsteps of Lord Rishabhadeva, one can give up his subtle body, there is no chance that one will accept the material body again. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki. As Lord Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita 4.9, Janma karma same divyam evam yo vetti tattvataha tyaktva deham punar janma naiti mam eti samjuna. One who knows the transcendental nature of my appearance and activities does not, upon leaving this body, take this birth again in this material world, but attains my eternal abode, O Arjuna. This is possible simply by keeping oneself an eternal servant of the Supreme Lord. One must understand his constitutional position and the constitutional position of the Supreme Lord as well. Both have the same spiritual identity. Maintaining oneself as a servant of the Supreme Lord, one should avoid rebirth in this material world. If one keeps himself spiritually fit and thinks of himself as an eternal servant of the Supreme Lord, he will be successful. At the time, he has to give up the material body. Translation again. Lord Rishabhadeva was the head of all kings and emperors within this universe. But assuming the dress and language of an Avadutta, he acted as if dull and materially bound. Consequently, no one could observe his divine opulence. He adopted his behavior just to teach yogis how to give up the body. Nonetheless, he maintained his original position as a plenary expansion of Lord Vasudeva Krishna. Remaining always in that state, he gave up his pastimes as Lord Rishabhadeva within the material world. If, following in the footsteps of Lord Rishabhadeva, one can give up his subtle body, there is no chance that one will accept a material body again. I have to find these verses. Please forgive me. Where are they? Om Agyanam Vijnanasya. Yes, that would be nice. Om Agyan Vijnanasya Akshaya Panakaya Surantam Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Chaitanya Manobishtam Zapitam Itamutale Itam Swatikam Deham Shri Guru Shri Datadanam Guru Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padansaha Gana Lalita Shri Vishaka Sritancha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Kopesha Kopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kancha Gorangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Krishna Bana Sute Devi Pramani Hari Priye Vancha Kalpata Rupescha Vaishnavibhyo Namo Namaha Ni Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Yadvaita Shmasani Gora Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Javanarottamam Divim Saraswati Visham Tato Jagatu Devat Nashta Pravesu Adesvaya Nityam Bhagavad Sevaya Bhagavati Yuta Shloki Bhakti Bhaktati Sankari. So, Prantaraj Bhagavatam Ki. The devotees, I was not prepared for this lecture, but it is also inspiring to do a lecture without preparation. I was told that actually it is more wanted that devotees speak from their heart and less from intellectual mind. So let's try that. if Prabhupada willing, get some inspiration. And if not, silence also helps. After all, it is all about knowing our position as the servant of the Lord, knowing the position of the Lord, and knowing the relationship between the servant and the Lord, being a servant and doing service. That is religion, religio. Re meaning in Latin again, and legio, legare, to bind. Again, bind again, find again the binding. Reconnect in English. To reconnect to the godly level. That's all. That's knowing the position, because we're not in this material body really. Actually, this more seems to be some kind of a simulation. Who has seen the movie The Matrix? Everybody almost? It's a very illustrative, even if of course Hollywood and stuff, but it illustrates a little bit how we are captivated in an illusion. And Yuval Harari at the New World Order, the World Economic Forum, says there will not be any more soul. Forget the soul, that's over. Forget the soul. Forget the free will. That is over. That's what he said in Davos, not far from here in the Swiss mountains, a year or two ago. So in this future of transhumanism, where nanorobots are injected with syringes as vaccines disguised, and where these nanorobots then build up an artificial nervous system which then can be controlled by 5G antennas and turn people into robots, inflict ideas in them, control their mind, there is no more need of a soul, because it all comes from the cloud. Yes. But that's a completely materialistic vision of this world. And I'd say that's exactly the opposite of what we learn from Prabhupada, from Srimad Bhagavatam, from Bhagavad Gita, that there actually is a God, and that the only existence that there is God, and we are part and parcel of Him, although we do not understand how we can be separate and at the same time part of Him. Who knows the verse? Who knows the saying? We are part, we are separate, and we are one at the same time, but we do not understand why. Yes, Yamuna Devi, Achinta Beda, Abeda Tattva. Achinta, we do not understand. Beda, there is two. Abeda, there is only one. Tattva, and that is the truth. So we do not understand how Krishna, how God, how the spiritual level is one, and yet it appears to be many at the same time. And how we can be part of God and although nevertheless be separate from God. And now if you're in this materialistic world, if you grow up in the school system here in Switzerland or in Russia or wherever, under the communists it's even worse, of course, then you become completely materialistic from your understanding. Everything is matter. But Prabhupada says in so many books and that life comes from life. What does that mean? Give me an interpretation, Bhakta Sergei. What does it mean, life comes from life? What does it mean to you? Where's the microphone? Here's the microphone.
Level English is not...
Just a little bit, just a little bit. Just simple.
Only life can do life.
Only life can do life.
Yes.
So, if a man and a woman both are living beings, they can have a child.
Man and table cannot do children.
So now we put up a laboratory and we create life. Put all the chemicals and all the molecules and everything in one and spark it with a lot of energy, like a thunder. Frankenstein. Yes. Frankenstein. The idea of Frankenstein, exactly. Take this microphone, please. Frankenstein, exactly. This idea of Frankenstein, is something may come out of that, but it's going to be completely distorted, like Frankenstein. It's not going to be a very pleasant human being, not complete, especially. And this is the very dull and low and disgusting approach of the materialists, to look at life, to look at us human beings as cattle. The devotees. For the globalists, Klaus Schwab, Yuval Harari, Birla, the director of Pfizer, for people like Bill Gates, you're nothing like cattle. Cattle? You need to cull the herd. There's too many of you guys. We need to reduce human population. They cause climate change. They need too much food. All this logistics just for these stupid, buzzing people. Billions of them. Let's do 500 million only. That's way enough. Now we have all the robots. We can use robotic science to do most of the work. We can use artificial intelligence to create most things. We don't need these people no more. It's a problem. Actually, Yuval Harari says, what are they going to do? You know, once in 3, 5, or even 10 years latest, artificial intelligence will have replaced most of the jobs. Already today, people are creating papers with ChatGPT. Don't realize how slowly they degenerate using ChatGPT. You can actually not create a letter after using 5 years ChatGPT, because the computer does it for you. You tell ChatGPT, please write a letter, this and this and this. ChatGPT writes it. I don't like that, change that. ChatGPT changes it. Well, that's very convenient, isn't it? Also, you're fast. I mean, you can use it, of course, but you have to be very careful. It's more or less the same as the smartphone having the calculator. I noticed that with my own brain. Sometimes I'm having a hard time adding 2 or 3 numbers. Like, Sergei Prabhu, what is 15 plus 21 plus 16?
56. Very easy. For me, it's very easy.
Very easy.
Yes.
You don't use iPhones
No, don't use.
to calculate. See?
I can thousands and millions do in my mind.
So,
Yes.
very good. Now you go out and you talk to children, who grow up with a tablet and iPhone and ask them simple questions. You go today to a shop. You go to a shop and you ask. They have to give you return money. It's a problem sometimes. They have to use the calculator, find out how much money they have to give you back. So, this whole materialistic approach is meant to degrade us and is meant to control us, is meant to make us dependent, make us the robotic being, totally disconnected from the spiritual platform. And who knows Rudolf Steiner? Yamuna Devi, who was Rudolf Steiner? Microphone.
What I know about him is that he established an alternative school system, and he was very religious as well. So he wanted that children are growing up in another way, and then there are some Rudolf Steiner Schule schools where kids do some alternative way of learning.
Thank you very much. Well, that's a very big contribution of Rudolf Steiner indeed. It's one big part, the educational system, to have it in a way that it nourishes the soul. Prabhupada said the schools are the slaughterhouses of the soul. That's what he said. They're killing the soul. And Rudolf Steiner established another school, another way of teaching, which nourishes the soul and helps the soul to express itself in this material world through connection, not only to other children, not only to knowledge, but also to nature. And that is why he also invented basically biological or organic agriculture. He went further than today's organic agriculture goes. It's the so-called Demeter standard. So there is many more things like the division of the society into 3 parts, similar to the division of the society into Brahmin, Kshatriya, Vaishnava, and Shudra. He divided this society into 3 parts. And Rudolf Steiner said 100 years ago there will be a time around the 1920s where there will be syringes and they will give them disguised as vaccines and inject them into people, and there they will actually disconnect the soul from the being. Just imagine he had the ability to see that way in the future, what's going to happen in right our time as we live today. So today we have this a problem. We can solve it. It is not such a big problem if you know that you have it and that you can solve it. Not only if you got the injection, you have a problem that you have the nanorobots in you and that they actually establish this artificial network, but you have also the problem of shedding. That means if you are with people who had this injection and produce these particles, then they get shedded upon you and they develop in you just the same. Now we can get rid of all that with EDTA and vitamin C. That's a long topic. Do your own research about it. But that's the attack of the material mind onto the soul. This is the Luciferian aspect of the world which wants to destroy the world. This is what Bhagavad Gita says, that the demons are here just to destroy the world. That's all. They all want to destroy the world. And from time to time I come again and destroy all the demons. That's what Krishna says. So we can really be hopeful. We are protected, and especially if we are taking shelter of Prabhupada, of the holy name, of Srimad Bhagavatam, of the spiritual knowledge. If we know and if we cultivate that knowledge that we are spiritual beings, nobody can tell us that the soul is a thing of the past. Free will is a thing of the past. Just, leave me alone with this material nonsense. And leave me alone with this nonsense of men and women and 64 different genders. There is 2 genders. There is male and there is female. And that's it. That's how Krishna created the world. And there might be some, of course, confusion and some other, but certainly it's a very small minority, and we certainly respect these people and we take them just as the same as we are, but we do certainly not change the structure of the universe or become some of these materialistic ways of looking at the world. It is very important that we keep to the basic knowledge that we are the servant of the Lord, and that the Lord is the universe. The Lord is the creator of the universe, and He's also within us as Paramatma. What are the three appearances of the Lord that are described? As we describe it simply as three levels. Paramatma in the heart. Paramatma, yes.
And Brahman is the effulgent.
The effulgent, Brahmajyoti. Bhagavat, Krishna in the spiritual world, right. So, this is so wonderful that we got this chance to... what are the odds that we get around to hear about these things? I was in 2 years of kindergarten and 6 years of primary school and 2 years of secondary school and 4 years of gymnasium and 4 years of university. I've never heard of these three appearances of Krishna or what the goal of life is. What is the goal of life, To go back to the spiritual world. As it is said here, to not take a material body again. And these materialists, they want to perpetuate the material body. They want to live forever. They inject themselves with chemicals, and I don't know what. I don't want to talk about it. It's too disgusting. In order to stay young and to live longer. Because they think it's all they have, this material body. And after the material body is dead, there is nothing left. They're gone. It's over. So now, what is the consequence? Constantine, if you think this way, what is the consequence of thinking this way after, when this body dies, everything is over?
Everything is useless. Everything was happening and everything what we do just has no reason.
That might be the philosophical consequence, but it was the consequence in action.
Action.
How do materialists behave? What are they clinging to?
I
They
don't
cling to life. That's all they have. They cling to this material life.
Yeah, they're trying to stay here as long as they can.
As long as they can, and they want to enjoy as much as they can, and they want to extract as much as they can, and they want to abuse others as much as they can,
Yes.
if it's for their own benefit.
Yes.
Because there is no consequence to it. So this is the complete opposite of what we are taught, that we should take less material enjoyment. We should take us away from sense gratification, isn't it? We should think of doing everything for Krishna, and we should actually devote our life to the spiritual platform. So what Jesus said, why do you don't collect wealth in this world, collect wealth in the spiritual platform. So it's always the same teachings wherever you go. It's basically Jagannath Baladev Subhadra ki jai, Gaur Nitai ki jai. So we are so fortunate to be here in this temple, and I also am fortunate that I am allowed back to come in this temple. And I encourage all the listeners out there to come back to this temple, to do service on the altar, to join with the devotees, to have the Sangha, because we need to cultivate this knowledge. It is so difficult out there. Everything you look at is exactly the opposite of your eternal soul. You're not supposed to be in this material world, this just transitionary stage. Try not to get a material body again. Try to build a spiritual body. Nobody talks about that. Only in this temple. Most probably there are other sampradayas which cultivate the same knowledge, of course. But in my experience in this Switzerland, city of Lucerne, city of Zurich, with the tourists coming, even Indians. I talked to Indian tourists yesterday. It is sometimes not obvious to them that the aim of life is going back to Godhead. And that was the magazine of Srila Prabhupada, Go Back to Godhead, the Back to Godhead magazine. That was the idea. That is the whole idea. So, in this wonderful verse, Rishabhadev, text number 6, canto number 5, chapter number 6, text number 6. Rishabhadev is showing us and the yogis that how to go, how to give up the body, and how to go into the spiritual world and not accept a material body again. Prabhupada says in his purport, this is possible simply by keeping oneself an eternal servant of the Supreme Lord. And I've always had this thing, we have these goals, we need to achieve that, and now we have to do this and that, and today I'm a little bit more relaxed, and I say, okay, what would Jagannath want? What would Krishna want? Let's see what he wants. Basically, taking out the ego, taking out our small ego, and going a little bit with the flow, but asking Krishna for advice, asking Krishna for help, but also observing, how can I serve? How can I serve Krishna? How can he help? But this is weird. What's happening here, this is totally contrary to what I intended it should be. So it can get very irritated. It can be... I was very irritated, very confused. But maybe we should try more to... Okay, this is the material platform, what Krishna wants. Krishna has a plan, let's see what's what's going to happen. How can I serve? How can I be helpful? And so that's the attitude, to know his one position as the servant of the Lord in the practical way. There's no theoretical thing to it. And then also be nice to devotees. I mean, what are the odds Constantine comes here to the Zurich temple? What are the odds, There's so few devotees are around. So let's cherish this fact that we have this association. So the Supreme Lord and we both have the same spiritual identity. There is a picture or a metaphor that Prabhupada uses, that it has the same quality. Can you recall this? The quality of us and the quality of Krishna, and there is a similarity. He compares it to, I think, yes? Ocean and the drop of the ocean. Yes, I think that's one. But it's also like the fire and the spark of the fire, or the sun and the ray of the sun. But it's similar, I think. So how can the sun be in the sky and the sun ray touches my skin and heats it up, actually? At the same time, the spark the sun ray is separate from the sun. It is not up there in the sky. It is here. But at the very same time also it is part of the sun. So that's a little bit to the Achinta Bheda Bheda Tattva. And if we remember that, and if we do not forget Krishna, always remember me, never forget me. Then we can avoid to take rebirth in this material world. If one keeps himself spiritually fit and thinks of himself as an eternal servant of Supreme Lord, he will be successful at the time he has to give up the material body. And when we have to give up the material body, what has been promised to us as initiated devotees? Yes, and we'll go back to the spiritual world, and Prabhupada will be there. Our spiritual master will be there waiting for us and guide us there. So we can actually look forward. Most people who have near-death experiences, and when they come back, they say it's a very, very wonderful experience there. It's not something that you want to actually come back. Coming back is like squeezing yourself again into this dull little form. Many describe that. So it's going to be a wonderful experience, but the problem is, if you stay in the material realm, you will come back and you will have to take this body again. But then, with the simple process of chanting Hare Krishna, 16 rounds, observing the 4 regulative principles, association with devotees, reading Srimad Bhagavatam, the 5 processes, the 5 main processes that were described by Rupa Goswami. Yamuna Devi, can you help me to recall them? The 5 processes. Mm-hmm. Do you take the microphone?
Krishna. So these processes are chanting the holy name and reciting Bhagavatam, worshipping the lordships and worshipping deities, and then reciting on a holy place, and also associate with sadhus, with saints.
Thank you so much. So wonderful. Full of knowledge. Thank you. So all that is given. If you visit the temple, if you come to the temple as often as possible, if you do service here, maybe, once a week you can do some service on the altar, or you can come for an evening program, or you can come for a morning program once a week, and then maybe on Sunday. Of course, most devotees come on Sunday. But still, it is a possibility to serve the Lord, to serve the deities, and have a more intimate association with some devotees on a weekday. The temple really needs some service on the altar. We have all heard that. So, to really focus on that, to not take a material body again. I mean, just imagine. You have to go again to kindergarten and to primary school and to secondary school and all these stupid teachers, and then do them Abitur in the gymnasium, and then go to the university. It's going to be so costly again, and then you have to grow your teeth, you have to grow, you have to do all these processes of becoming an adult again. So use this material body as a human being that you have finally achieved as the spaceship, the space rocket it is, and not as a bicycle that every ant has, and every tree, and every grass, and every bird. The bicycle is practical in the city. You can drive around with the bicycle very easy. The space shuttle is very difficult to handle, but it propulses you out of the earth into the orbit. And this is the human body. It's very difficult to manage the human body, to keep it healthy, to associate with others, to have a job, to have enough money, to be in the social structures and everything. It's very, very challenging. Have a family, grow up, educate children, whatever. But in this human body we can actually achieve this goal of not having a material body ever again. That is the wonderful thing. That's what Rishi Abadev teaches us in this verse. I think I'm stopping here. I hope it wasn't too dull what I said.
That was heavy.
Was heavy?
It was heavy, yeah.
Can you give the microphone to Konstantin? What is your comment?
I mean, it's a heavy conclusion.
In what sense heavy?
All these experiences just to learn that there is no fun to sit and be connected to this body.
Say again?
To be connected to this body, it's not fun in reality.
It's not fun
to be connected.
To learn about the situation that being connected to this body is
sitting inside and like move your right hand, move your finger, shake it. And for some reason, I mean, we've all been born, and now most of the people, they're thinking it's fun place, let's enjoy.
Yeah, I mean, it's not so that we should not enjoy life. I mean, life has been given from God for us, for having these experiences, and we shouldn't reject life, but we should, I think, as I understood it, at least I'm not doing it all the time, but I hope more and more, is to devote things that we do to God, to devote it to Krishna, and do it not for yourself, do it for everybody, do it for the good of all beings. And otherwise, yes, I mean, it is a difficult situation in this material body. I mean, it's not. We should. Yesterday I saw this documentary about the root canal. You know, most people have a dead tooth, I have one, where there's a root canal treatment, and it is dead, and it is full of bacteria. And depending on what kind of bacteria you develop this disease, it can be bladder, sleeplessness, can be headaches, can be mental problems, can be heart attack, depending on what kind of bacteria develop. And then go to these different... Women develop breast cancer. It's amazing. This documentary was amazing. It's called Root Cause. And just imagine, I mean, we have this body, and then we have the treatment of a dentist who wants to do his best to really help us so that we have beautiful mouth, a smile, the result is that we have all these problems. I mean, this is the material world, you know. This is the material world. It's very heavy. Yeah, absolutely. It's very heavy.
I lost my teeth.
You lost your teeth this way,
Canal.
with the root canal.
Yes, wasn't done right.
Wasn't done right, but it cannot be done right. Every root canal is infected, 100%. There is not a single one that is not infected. It just cannot be seen with the ordinary X-ray. Needs to be the three-dimensional X-ray to see it, and it's amazing. Anyway, that's just another topic. But is there one last comment, Yamuna Devi?
Hare Krishna. So what I was thinking is, we usually see the world as very bad if we are not engaged in service, but there are also verses, I don't know which one anymore, but if we are actually turning towards Krishna, then the world could be very beautiful, and then this is the way how to live, actually, to see everywhere Krishna and how to serve Krishna, and then we automatically get detached and from the material things and to lose taste, right? And then I was just thinking, like, it's stated in the verse that if we have given up our subtle body that consists of mind, intelligence and false ego, actually, then we can go back home and as you very beautifully said, if we are associating with these 5 processes, which are actually very much prominent in the morning program, Srila Prabhupada compiled it so much, then we get more and more attracted to Krishna, and then we also see that actually we are the servants of the Lord. And in this way we can use this body actually very nicely as an instrument to serve Krishna, because without this body, what would we do? We couldn't serve Krishna in that sense. So in the beginning it might be necessary to be disgusted of these bodies and all the material lifestyles, but the goal is to turn towards Krishna, right? And then everyone and everything becomes very beautiful instruments of Krishna, belongings of Krishna. So that just reminded me that we really have to have this focus, actually, otherwise there is no means of our life.
Very beautifully said. Let's hope we can turn all this into practice and see Krishna everywhere like an Uttamadhikari, and use everything in the service of the Lord. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Prabhupada ki, Gaura Premanandi.
Next part of morning program is Bhagavad Prasada. знаю, может вместе прошлись.
Не, может быть и да. Забрать, то есть ты когда еще цифру можешь скинуть.
Ну, это же. Если тут еще кто-то ходит, что-то живет, шевелится, то можно. Конечно. Все, ну качалка с утра нормально, как ни в чем не бывало. Ну, бывает, все как всегда, короче. Ничего не готово. Масло, если Бахта Сергей, короче,